Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Handmade by Ying with Donna. Today is August the 3rd, 2022, and this is your hack of the week. Ever so often we forget about our tools and instruments that we do need in our sewing space and some of the maintenance and upkeep and things like that. So today's hack is basically just a little friendly reminder and tidbit on things that we need to really be watching and doing in our sewing room. So one of the things that I like to do is about once a month or so, I just use one of my cleaning wipes, and these are very, very cheap, $1 at the Walmart store, and it's just a disinfecting, but it doesn't damage your tools or instruments at all. And we have so much lint and everything tied up in them. I change my blades quite frequently, but not very often do I go over everything and just give it a good wipe down. So we all get colds and we all get the bug, and you get so much lint built up on everything in your sewing room, whether it's from what you're cutting or whatever. These do not hurt your blades. They do not dull your blades. They're just very, very little damp, very, if at all. And all I do is just go over every area, let them air dry, and then, like, if I'm touching around where the blade area is, I will hit it with a little sprig of oil just to make sure that it's staying oiled up and things. But it's just one of the little things that I choose to do for my sewing space, and it works, and it keeps everything that I'm doing sanitized but yet cleaned up. So I just throw everything that I use basically on a daily basis or even weekly basis out, and I just give it a good once over and a good clean up. And as you can see, I'll show you my rag here in a second, my moist wipe. But some of my instruments are just old. But there's no reason to pitch them, because when it leaves from me being able to utilize it with cutting my fabric, I'll downgrade that instrument per se into, it's going to become cutting my batting, or it'll turn into I'll use it to cut paper or a pattern out or something that's, I'm not really concerned with the exact way it's cutting. So I will leave my scissors lay out a bit, but I do this quite often, like once a month, and you can see I did get a little bit of smuck off of it. So moving right along into the next little tidbit, I'm not sure who knew, but it's something that I choose to do with mine to keep them sharp and safe, is just your normal household aluminum foil. So I just scrunch it up just a bit, nothing fancy. And your blades, no matter how much we try not to do damage to things, whether it's your scissors, whether it's your shears, whether it's your cutting instruments, our blades do get dull. And it's from all the lint and everything that's in them. So I'm going to do it with this here first. And then you're going to really like this. So all I do is open it up. I haven't oiled it or anything yet. And I just go through just little tidbits of it. And all I'm doing is anything that's built up on this one, I've got it off. And then I'm going to close it down. And I'm going to do it with my next one. And all I'm doing is any fibers and things that's on that blade is I'm taking them off. So I'm going to close this one. And now I'm going to go to my shears. The next thing I'm going to do is basically make myself a little pile of confetti here. This is getting all of the starch off, all the fibers, anything that I'm missing. And it's keeping them sharp. So I'm closing that one up. Now I'm going to my scissors. And anytime I buy new scissors, I always just like to, once I've used them several times and I can see a change in the cutting, all I do is cut up a little bit of foil, and I make sure I hit around the tips, because we all know that's where things start to go awry. So I'm putting that one down. My next one's going to go to what I cut my batting with. And I just, like I said, make myself a little stack of confetti here, because it's going to be gone. And these are all, you can keep reusing and reusing until it doesn't cut anymore. Some people buy really high priced scissors and things, and they send them to be sharpened or however they choose to. But this is just a quick little hack to show you what you can still be doing. So that's my scissors and all my cutting instruments. So let me get this off of here, and I'll throw it into my bin. And I'll use my weight, because there's always little fibers no matter how safe you try to be. And with little pooches around, I don't want them getting sick. So now what I do is I go ahead and grab my oil, because now you got to remember we just cleaned all these. So I'm going to take just scrap fabric, and I take a little dab of oil. If you keep the maintenance up on all of your instruments, they're going to last you quite a long time. I don't douse anything in oil. I use a Q-tip. And I'll start with my first one, because as you know, they come oiled. But now I've just cleaned it. So where my blade is, all I'm going to do is put my finger here so nothing slides. And I'm just going to go around and just give it that light little bit of oil. And believe it or not, even though we've cleaned this, you're going to be surprised when I show you this, because I didn't get down into the blade area at all. Look what come up. I still got funk and I still got dirt. And that shows you that you're not getting your blade wet down in there. All I did was wipe the instruments. So now I'm getting my blade and all of that cleaned up. And I will once again close it here momentarily and move on to the next instruments. You're not going to get cut doing this if you're using a Q-tip and you're keeping your hands safe. You always close everything that you're doing. And then now I'm going to open the next one, and I'm just going to move along and just give it that little bit of oil, because they wouldn't come to us oiled if they didn't need to be. And I'll close that one up. My FPP one, I would give it a little douse of oil. And these are just little tidbits that I'm learning along the way. I am not a professional by any means, but these little hacks that have been shared with me, I don't mind sharing with you all. That oil that I am putting on them is not going to damage anything, because I'm going to show you the next thing. You're just putting a little bit of oil in it. These are ones that have a little bit of buildup from whatever I've been cutting in the muck on them. And if you have a lot in your corners here, just where your scissors or whatever your instrument is, just put a little dab of oil in there. And it's just going to help. And then I will leave these open just for a minute. And I'll do the same thing here. And it's just, you're taking care of your equipment. No one likes to do all these things every month or two. But to be honest with you, it saves in the long run. Because a good pair of scissors, or a decent pair, honestly, you're talking 30, 40 bucks. If you're replacing them on a regular basis because they're going dull and you're just upgrading or whatever, all that adds up over the course of a year. But just to be able to take and do 5 minutes of maintenance could save you $100 or so. To me, that means I can buy more fabric. And what girl doesn't like fabric, right? So I'm going to lay those there. Everything's been oiled. So I'm going to leave those sit for just a bit. So when we buy our blades, they come in these little cute containers. Everybody knows that as you open them up, they already have a little dab of oil on them. And then you've got to be really careful that you're not cutting yourself as you're trying to separate them. So what Joe and I have done is we use the old containers, and what we do is mark them used. So when we change my blade from my little one, because it's just something new I'm getting into, we'll take the old blade and put it in one of these containers, because you don't want to put it in your trash can. Lord knows you don't know who's going to be touching it and get cut. So mark your used and then your new. And then we've done the same thing since I've been sewing, and you guys have probably already done it. We have our new for our larger rotaries, and then we have our used. And once this is full, I do go ahead and just put it in an old coffee can. Even though it's in a plastic, I'll drop it inside of a coffee can or some other kind of can, just for extra layer of protection for whomever is dealing with our trash. But that's just a couple little hacks and tidbits that I've learned along the way, and I'm glad you're letting me share just a little bit with you. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you back in the next hack. Take care and bye-bye.